You know, some people think that it can't be true. It can't be true. Well, I'm going to tell you what. And there's actually a couple of you here that will know what I'm talking about. But I was talking to a friend of mine just a little while ago. I actually tried to catch Dave before he finished his podcast because it would have been a great topic conversation. But I met him up at my gate, and we had a good 25, almost 30-minute long conversation. And it's not just the Angels that are making a trip to Aurora, Colorado. Um, there's quite a few bike clubs here in the state of Oregon. And I hear tell that some boys are already rolled and rolling out. Rolled, meaning they left earlier today. Rolling out means that they're going tonight. I don't think that this is a joke in any way, shape, or form. It's not the way that I would want to see things handled. However, when somebody puts a plea out and you get a response, sometimes people don't like the response. So let's do it.
We started out with 9 this morning. And we ended up with,
Actually, let me make this bigger.
We started out with 9 this morning. And we ended up with, 10 more. We're headed west. Catch y'all later.
So,
two Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado that took over those apartment complexes are about to be met by the Hells Angels. And when the Hells Angels takes care of business and the 16.2 million veterans see that there was no criminal charges against the Hells Angels, that there was no prosecution against the Hells Angels, then we're going to see that when that enemy starts rocking and rolling, we can go take care of business without no criminal charges because we're just defending our country, just like the Constitution says. And thank God we don't got a fucking musket because I got an AR-15 with a 100-round drum that I can cook that barrel after 2 drums. Drop that. I got AK-47, 7.62 by 39. I can hit a camel running at 375 yards, open sights. And I'm just one crazy mother effer out of 16.2 million. Lock and load. I think it's time. Two Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado.
yeah. This is the thing, is that the governor said that that there was no gang activity. The mayor came on and said that there was gang activity. The police said that we can't see anything. Nobody's talking to us. Of course, they're not going to talk to you. We went from door to door and nobody said anything. Yeah, why wouldn't they say anything? Well, probably because they're afraid that them and their families are going to get killed. These are people who, in their country, that's exactly what they do. That's exactly what they do. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. And I have a feeling. This guy here this clip was recorded at the Sturgis motorcycle rally in August 2023. The rally took place in Sturgis, South Dakota. It's this one I saw earlier, and that's one of the reasons I didn't show you. But this was the Hells Angels rolling through Sturgis.
Better run.
I'm going to turn off the music there because I don't want to get in trouble. We already got in trouble for playing Dave's movie earlier. We didn't get a strike for it, but they hit us with a copyright. And And if they actually had read the description of the video, they would have seen that the director and one of the actors of the movie was actually presenting it. But YouTube doesn't give a damn because of the fact that they've got to have this authoritarian grip on everybody and everything. But this just goes to show you, you know, that little things can become big things if people let them, you know. And here's a lady here.
Is the rumor true that the Hells Angels are on their way to Aurora, Colorado?
Like I said, it's
Because
not just angels.
I sure hope not. Let me tell you about this Hells Angels. They're almost like a million strong, and they consist of, you never hear of a Hells Angel getting convicted. They consist of lawyers, doctors, thugs, ex-military, policemen, firemen, every person, every American you can think of, every real American that you can think of, there's that category in the Hells Angels. And the Hells Angels are respected by even the military. So if this is true, it's almost like, because I'm sure we can't wait for Sleepyhead to call the National Guardian, because they're not. So I assume that is why the Hells Angels are on their way. And if they are, them folks better run. I don't care how badass of a gang you are. You had better run.
Yeah. And this is the thing is
the rumor
you know,
true that
like
the Hells Angels
what my
are
buddy
on their
said
way?
was he says I may not see you for a while. He says because I think I may end up in trouble. Was how he put it. And the last time he said that to me, he ended up going to the joint, and he was in the joint for like 3 years. So, but he said that they were heading for Colorado, and he didn't say anything more more in depth in that.
I have seen multiple videos.
But you know, here's another one.
I have seen multiple videos in the last 10 minutes that are showing the Hells Angels heading to Colorado, to Aurora. This is going to be interesting. Anybody else hearing that? Like I've seen footage of it, but you know, things get like crossed on here, but wow.
I got to turn down the volume. Oh, no, I don't. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Time keeps dragging on. Yeah. So, is it legit? I'm just gonna say that I think there's merit to it. I do. I think there's merit to it. Do I think that this is going to come down to all-out declaration of war from the American people to illegals? I'm not sure. But I know that they're living on the American teat right now. And I know that 90% of this country want it stopped cold dead. You know, there's no way to get that money back. You know, no way to get all the money. You know, $150 billion between 150 to 190 billion dollars in funding for illegals in the last 12 months. 150 to 190 billion dollars in the last 9 months. That's ridiculous. And I just have a feeling. I got a feeling, and you guys know when I get them feelings that generally I'm pretty spot on. But Angels and Outlaws, not a good combination to break the deafening silence that we have heard, for these last couple of years. And this could start a large mass migration back to where they came from. Could. Don't know for sure, but we will see. I have a feeling we will see whether Potato Head and Kamala Harris end up doing anything. If anything, I have a feeling that they would call the governor and tell him to use the National Guard against the bikers. So I'm trying to run any possible scenario through my head to try and figure out the best way, the best outcome that this could come. And the only thing I can do is say a bunch of prayers and hope that that God is riding with the Angels and the Outlaws right now. And that they're able to successfully return the homes of those people back to them. The problem is what about the next group that come in and the next group that come out, and it's a very, very awkward, situation, to look at and understand the level of it. I would say probably 60%, maybe 70% of all bikers nationwide are veterans. They just came back and they saw that what the law was not doing and what the law was doing, said, I don't want any part of that kind of society anymore. And they walked away from that part of society and got in with a brotherhood that is willing to stand up and test anything. Would I throw my support behind them? Absolutely. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. I would even give them dogs to send out there, but no. I was actually talking with my buddy earlier, and I said to him, I says, I got a couple of dogs that they've been training up pretty good. They tear at the pads real good. And he says, yeah. He says, I wouldn't put a dog into that situation because they have no idea what to expect. And again, he said all he said was they were going to Colorado. He didn't say where in Colorado or anything else. He wasn't going to put that out there. And he knows that I do podcasts, and he knew that I was going to come down and end up going live. He's probably tuned in right now and listening, and he won't say anything because he doesn't out himself like that. But I have a feeling. that things are going to be Well, honestly, I think over these next 3 weeks, I think tomorrow starts September, and I think that Kim's prophecy in regards to September. Um, September. Let me see. Does it come right up? Do, 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 do. Let's see. Let's go to videos here because sometimes these will give a little bit more. Okay, so September is not quite fall. Actually, it is fall. When does fall start? What's the first day of fall? Anybody know? Anybody know off the top of their head? All right, let's I just saw a couple of clips too. Actually, probably in my X feed now that I think of it, where he talks about September and the air. Actually, I don't want to have to go through all of this again in order to get back to where we were. So I'm going to leave this one here and go ahead and let's turn this into okay. Well, we got more on the.
Oh, damn. Are the Hells Angels on their way to Aurora, Colorado right now? I sure hope that's true. Holy crap. But listen to this.
Is the rumor true that
No, we already watched her. So everybody's seeing this. Everybody's reacting. And like I said, we don't know. We don't know. There's absolutely no concrete evidence that is in fact what happens, and we'll have to see.
Howdy, folks. It's Pops. You know, back in my day, the Hells Angels was something. They were something. I mean, they were mean. People were afraid of them, didn't know what to do with them. I didn't even know the Hells Angels still existed, but they do. And they're on their way to Aurora, Colorado to deal with the Venezuelan gangs. Oh boy. This is Pops. This is how I roll.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, everybody's hearing about it. So everybody's going to have something to say about it. And the only thing that we can do is just hope that yeah, this is going to be some interesting thing. What's this one here?
Tucker Carlson. I flew from Maine to be here, which is at the other end of the country. And I flew for two reasons. One, I'm from California. I grew up here. I'm 53 years old. So I remember a different state. I almost never come back because it makes me sad. And standing here with all of you reminds me of the state I grew up in. I haven't smelled cigarette smoke in the state of California in 30 years, and I'm just so grateful to smell it. So thank you for those, and I'm not joking at all. So thank you to those of you who are smoking and persisting. Thank you to those of you who are going to the Stockton Gun Show in 2 days. God bless. I can't believe they still exist. I can't believe this California still exists. And I'm just really happy to see that it does. When I was a child, I lived in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, so the whole coastal range of the state. And we'd be on the I-5 in the station wagon, we'd hear this noise. And every vehicle on the I-5, if you're over 50 and lived in the state, you know exactly, would get to the side as these chopped ape hangers, you know, these hardtail bikes just come roaring up, and everyone was just, it intimidated the shit out of everyone on the freeway as the Hells Angels went by, but in a respectful way. And I thought, those guys are cool. And at the first opportunity I had, when I was 19 delivering pizza, I bought a 1971 XLCH, and the reason I bought it was it had no juice box on the handlebars. And I remember the bikes of my childhood, which had no, I mean, obviously they had mechanical brakes, not hydraulic brakes, and I just loved the handlebars and the Hells Angels bikes. So you inspired me in my choice of motorcycles. I'm still a fan, but that's not why I came. I came because I never met Sonny Barger, but when he died, his letter to his wife and friends was released. And my college roommate, who was also a Harley Davidson fan, sent it to me. We'd always been fans of Sonny Barger, but I didn't know what his personal views were apart from representing the club. And the letter, if I can just summarize it from memory, was always stand tall, stay loyal, which may be emotional reading it, stay loyal, remain free, and always value honor. Stand tall, stay loyal, remain free, and always value honor. And I thought to myself, if there is a phrase that sums up more perfectly what I want to be, what I aspire to be, and the kind of man I respect, I can't think of a phrase that sums it up more perfectly than that. And I thought that came from Sonny Barger, the famous outlaw biker that every mom in my neighborhood was scared shitless of as a child. That's Sonny Barger's worldview. Why aren't we hearing that from the people who run the country? Why is it left to Sonny Barger to say, stand tall, stay loyal, remain free, and always value honor? The President of the United States should be saying that every single morning as he salutes the flag, but only Sonny Barger is saying it. And I thought to myself, I want to pay tribute to the man who spoke those words. And when I was invited to this funeral, I cleared my schedule, and I thought, I don't care how hard it is to get from Maine to Stockton. I'm going, and I'm here, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me, and I hope that you continue to represent those views. Amen.
Interesting that these old clips come out of nowhere. You know, imagine having your apartment taken over by a Venezuelan gang and the Hells Angels come to take it back for you. Not the government, not the police. Yep. And this is the fucking governor of Colorado right here.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Prospero año y felicidad.
Yeah.
Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, you're about to get a fleecing there, pal. You're about to get a fleecing. Yep. Oh, boy. What's this? Well, that's June 23rd. We're way past that, guys. We're way past that. Why are they pulling that up now? Yep. That lion should have taken his hands off. He would never have put his hands in there again because he wouldn't have any. Yeah. What's this? Hold on. Dude puts hands on his girlfriend during a live stream, but quickly ends up on the floor in a puddle of tears. Let's see.
Move! Move, because you're not going to corner me. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, man, you a fuck ass nigga. You a fuck ass nigga. Oh, yeah, bitch. Oh, yeah, bitch. Get there. Get there. I like this. Get there. Get there. Yeah, get there. What's up? Don't wrong with you, bitch. Stop motherfucking playing with me, bro. Stop fucking playing with me.
want to mess with girls nowadays. They think they're men. Oh yeah. I'm looking to see if there was any more on that, but I'm also looking for that Kim Clement one that I saw earlier that I wanted to share with you guys too. So just bear with me here. Let's see. We get so many good things that pop up in our feed and everything. You know, it's half of these things I'll end up saving for tomorrow, but I want this Kim Clement one. Actually, let's type in Kim Clement. Kim Clement. There we go. That's the one I want right there. Okay, prophetic rewind. Okay, so this is one of them. Here we go.
But God says, listen to me. As the beginning of the restoration.
This is in 2011. This is in 2011.
As it begins, there shall be a woman that shall rise up, a woman that shall be strong in faith.
Okay, really quick, I want to point out he's going to go through quite a few women's pictures. Okay, I'm going to start it from the beginning again. I want you guys to look at them all, and think about who could he be talking about. But I'm going to say this: there's one that definitely doesn't belong there, and that's Nikki Haley, because we know she's 100% evil on that side of the track, right? But the one that's missing is Melania out of all the women that he shows, and Roseanne Barr, because I talked about the angry woman, you know, and Roseanne totally fits that bill. However, you know, Melania, something happens with her husband, and I have a feeling that the U.S. will see a side of that woman that we have not seen before. So we'll see what happens here, but let's take a listen. Here we go.
But God says, listen to me. As the beginning of the restoration, as it begins, there shall be a woman that shall rise up, a woman that shall be strong in faith, virtuous, beautiful in eyes, and her eyes shall be so beautiful. Her eyes shall be round and big. I have crowned her, says the Lord, as I crowned Esther. And the people shall receive her, for she shall have the oil of gladness for the pain and the mourning that has taken place. And she shall pour out the oil on this nation. And God says healing shall begin, and then it shall flow rapidly. Schools will be free from potential damage and danger, shootings and murder, drug addiction. Cartels shall be afraid of a woman anointed by God, a woman set aside. And God says they will say, we hated her, but now we love her. For she shall take the oil of healing, and she shall pour it upon the scars of those left and those right, and of the new party that has come forth and emerged.
Interesting, right? Now, there's one in regards to September that, let's see. Let me see here. That's in August. That's in August. Maybe it was in one of the other Kim Clement ones. I dang nabbit. I'll probably end up finding it for tomorrow's for tomorrow's thing. But you know, it's just understanding the identity politics combined with the Word of God. There could be a very hula from Mexico. I don't know. But I don't know. All right, let's get into some interesting stuff. I'm going to give you guys something to watch while I smoke a little. Here we go.
So Trump just tweeted that he's going to legalize weed if he gets elected president. And so if you don't know the story about how prohibition basically founded organized crime today and shaped our whole world, this is a crazy rabbit hole you got to know about. This is also the rabbit hole that keeps getting me strikes on TikTok, so I'm not even going to post this one there. But anyways, as usual, I like to show my sources, tweet today. And in order to understand what legalizing weed today might do, you should look at the 1920s and what illegalizing alcohol did to our country. Prohibition was from 1920 to 1933. And at first, it seemed like it was going to go great, but the benefits eroded over time as an organized black market developed and public support for prohibition declined. I'm just going to use a lot of Wikipedia here so that it's really easy for you to go down these rabbit holes for yourself. There's way more than just Wikipedia here, but it's just an easy way to look at it. For example, one study found that organized crime in Chicago tripled during Prohibition. Mafia groups and other criminal organizations and gangs had mostly limited their activities to prostitution and gambling and theft until 1920. But then suddenly, this thing that everyone in the country consumes is illegal. And now it is supplied by illegal criminal organizations. Billions of dollars worth of profits suddenly on the table. And so what had been a dispersed system of organized crime that was just like little street gangs here and there doing their little rackets, suddenly they have incentive to be international shipping organizations because most of the alcohol is getting made in places like Canada by families like the Rosensteels, and they have to import it through illegal smuggling operations. So these guys that were doing prostitution, gambling, and theft suddenly are about to become transnational criminal syndicates, and that requires a whole new level of organization. These stats are wild too, if you want to pause and read these red stats. So this gave rise to the mafia and the mob getting way level of organization.
Let's pause and read these stats. In one study of more than 30 major U.S. cities during the Prohibition years of 1920 and 1921, the number of crimes increased by 24%. Additionally, theft and burglaries increased by 9%, homicides by 13%, assaults and battery rose by 13%, and drug addiction by 45%. The police department costs rose by 11.4%. This was largely the result of black market violence and the division of law enforcement resources.
These stats are wild too, if you want to pause and read these red stats.
I just read.
So this gave rise to the mafia and the mob getting way bigger. And then this guy named Meyer Lansky came along and formed an alliance amongst all organized crime syndicates that was called the National Crime Syndicate. Mostly it was the Italian mafia and the Jewish mob, the big dogs. And it would have been the FBI's job to shut them down and to maintain law and order in the United States. But the problem was J. Edgar Hoover, the guy in charge of the FBI for a full 48 years under 8 different presidents, at a time when being gay was very stigmatized, and Hoover contributed strongly to that stigma with the Lavender Scare, whole other story. Anyways, Hoover was really into these cross-dressing orgies, all-male parties at the Plaza Hotel. We'll come back to that in just a second. But he also collected possibly the world's largest blackmail collection for his own power use. But he probably got the idea because he was being blackmailed by the mob. This guy in charge of the National Crime Syndicate got a hold of compromising pictures of a sexual nature featuring the FBI director and his longtime aide, Clyde Tolson. This has been corroborated by multiple primary sources and multiple documentarians. And one of the primary places where this blackmail was acquired, Whitney Webb goes into this in a lot of detail in her books, was at the Plaza Hotel at these parties hosted by Roy Cohn and liquor magnate Louis Rosensteel, who had ties with the mafia from his bootlegging operations during Prohibition. Because it was during Prohibition that all of these massive networks of crime formed. And then after Prohibition, when all of that was legalized again, suddenly the ties are crossed from the black market into the white markets. And now legitimate businesses have lifelong ties to organized crime and vice versa. Another great example of this is Las Vegas, like the whole fucking city. The entire gambling industry in America was mostly built on mob and mafia money, and they used casinos to launder their money. Maybe they still do. And so despite casinos being theoretically good, upstanding businesses, there's almost always secret deals happening in back rooms, you know, weird things happening at Mandalay Bay hotels. Who knows? Both Hollywood and the music industry are two other really good examples of this, of legitimate business industries that were built on mob and mafia money with black market ties that still hold those ties to this day, like Diddy, for example. This also led to the intelligence agencies and the US government getting in bed with organized crime during World War II and certainly never after. Because now these smuggling networks have control over all the ports, and the US government needs them to help them secure the ports. True story, look up Operation Underworld. And so right from the founding of the CIA and the US intelligence apparatus, they realized that their job was to sort of wade in the black market waters a little bit and to do things covertly. And a great way to get funding is to engage in the black markets. And we know for a fact that the CIA has been involved in the drug trade of illegal drugs since its founding, along with their organized criminal buddies. The Iran-Contra affair is a great example. Gary Webb famously wrote the series and book called Dark Alliance, which alleged with lots of evidence that the CIA was essentially facilitating and protecting the cocaine trade into America that was fueling the entire crack cocaine epidemic in the 80s. Yeah, Gary Webb got the Journalism Integrity Award of committing suicide via 2 gunshot wounds to the head. Death ruled as suicide. But don't worry, the CIA investigated themselves and submitted 3 reports, all of which found no evidence to support the claim, no evidence to support the claim that the CIA had anything to do with drug smuggling, obviously. Then there's a whole other crazy rabbit hole around this crazy secret CIA document about Vietnam War in the 70s that I've gone into a lot of depth on. It's called Operation Eagle 2 and the 5-Star Trust. This one's harder to find, but quote, this is from an FBI official document, quote, the master plan called for the CIA to enter into the drug smuggling business in a total and complete fashion. This involves Bush Sr., Richard Helms, director of the CIA, and even the Rothschild banking empire at the time. Whole crazy story. And obviously I would never insinuate that there's crimes happening today in our modern CIA and all that. It's just a weird coincidence that we went to Afghanistan where all of the world's opium production happens. We kicked the Taliban out that had burned all the opium. And then suddenly we have this opioid epidemic all over the United States, and American pharmaceutical companies are making insane amounts of money off of opioids. It's just weird that now we have this open border and all this fentanyl trafficking happening, and our own officials are trying to pretend like there's no open border. It's like, I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but it's just weird. Like the 2 biggest things that regular Americans are not taught in school for a reason is the history of organized crime and the history of intelligence agencies. And actually the fact that the 2 are pretty damn similar because they're buddies. They always have been. And so there's actually a lot more depth than you might realize to Trump talking about legalizing weed nationwide, because marijuana is one of those sort of like mostly harmless drugs that tons and tons and tons of people use, regardless of whether it's legal or not, that creates a huge amount of cash flow for organized crime, for gangs, for cartels in Mexico, trans-border smuggling. It just gives money to the bad guys. That's not to mention all the ways that the health benefits of various parts of marijuana might threaten the pharmaceutical industry, allegedly, hypothetically. And when you look at the history of the war on drugs, obviously it's just a conspiracy theory and you're kind of kooky for thinking it, but it looks sometimes, just looks like it sometimes, that maybe the war on drugs was not actually designed to stop drug use. And whatever it was designed to do, it certainly happened to produce a fuckload of profits for criminal organizations that were running all those drugs. So anyways, I just wanted to remind us all that sometimes historical context recolors your understanding of what's happening today. And it's important to remember that we've been lied to about history. History was written by the victors. History is written by the establishment and taught in schools in a very specific way to get us all to think about what we're supposed to think about, which is basically nothing, and to not think about the important, complex ways that our world has tied together to create this corrupt system that we all live in today. They don't teach you how Wall Street works because they don't want you to notice that it's all corrupt criminal bullshit. They don't teach you how intelligence agencies work because they don't want you to know that they've been working with organized crime since the very first year they were founded. They don't teach you how food and health works because they make a lot more money off of you if you're sick than if you're healthy. And everything we're seeing happening this year is deeply rooted in a complex historical context of how things got as bad as they are and who's incentivized to feed which side of that equation. And the more you learn about history, the more complex it gets, the more fascinating it is, and the less you realize you actually know.
That's a lot. That was a lot. Right? Yeah. Yeah, I've been battling that stuff for quite a while now. Here's a trip back in time for you.
Just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times you'll have, and it doesn't work very well.
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet.
How tough is it?
A lot of times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So that's what it is. That's what. And by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the? I'm talking about to the television audience. Donors, special interests, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say, just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times you'll have.
Yeah. He went after Bush like Bush was just a toy. You know what I'm saying? Just a toy. That's all he was. Yep. He wasn't playing games with him neither. All right. Isn't it illegal to cross while safety guards are down?
Oh my God!
Here's the other angle.
Oh my God.
Yeah. People not paying attention. RFK's powerful new ad calls on him to finish the job his father and uncle started.
This conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. Yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
Listen to the wind blow, watch the sun rise.
This country will do whatever must be done to protect its own security and that of its allies.
General, we got a message from Khrushchev which said that he would withdraw these missiles fighting. We would not plan to invade Cuba.
Now the time has come for this nation to fulfill its promise.
A country is as strong really as its citizens. And I think that mental and physical health, mental and physical vigor go hand in hand.
A great change is at hand. And our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all.
Run in the shadows, damn your love, damn your life.
President Kennedy has been assassinated.
And if you don't love me
time for debate is over. The time has come to unite. We are a strong and we are a courageous people. I am announcing today my candidacy for the presidency of the United States. I do not run to oppose any man, but to oppose new policies. Policies to end the bloodshed in Vietnam. Policies to close the gaps that now exist between black and white, between rich and poor. I run for the presidency because I want the Democratic Party and the United States of America to stand for hope instead of despair. My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible?
Break the silence, damn the dark, damn the light.
If you're going to do anything important with your life, there's going to be a hero's journey where you go through the valley of death. You feel you're completely alone. When my uncle was president, everybody was talking about Camelot. And I ended up reading a book about Camelot called The Once and Future King. It gave me the capacity to process pain in a different way. The trick to life is to not have expectations, but just to know what your duty is and to do it. You become relentless. Nobody can defeat you.
Tonight, I'm very pleased to welcome Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Yeah. I'll definitely get a ding for that one, don't you know? All right, first day of school and y'all already wilding. Here we go.
What's so funny about shit?
It's funny.
Because you committed a hate.
Pipe down. Oh, I'm so hurt that you kicked my bag.
Steel-toed boots. I would shut your mouth if I were you
Oh,
before it
I'm-
ends up in your mouth.
You need to just be quiet and don't say anything, okay? You will come to the office, okay?
I mean, she's kind of sitting here.
I'm not a girl!
Yeah, she's actually a girl. But hey, girls don't want to be girls no more. All right, here we go.
My initial plan was to sneak up here to the top of town and raise a Trump flag on the town's flagpole. I don't have a flagpole at my house, so I was just gonna raise this up on the top of the town. But then I thought, there's a lot of snowflakes in town, and they might call the cops. So I called the mayor and asked for permission. Oh, I like that.
That is a nice flag. You got to wave in both directions. Trump, baby.
Nice.
He'll take a bullet for you.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Guy went about it the right way. He just went to the mayor and said, "Hey, what do you think? Can I do this?" And the mayor said, "Yeah. Why not? Come on. Let's do it." You know? And I think that's good stuff. I do. You know. And he went through it the respectful way, the proper way. All right. So speaking on Aurora, Colorado, let's go ahead and jump into it a little bit.
I have months, almost a year and a half worth of footage from 6 separate cameras. I have a bullet hole through my car. It went in one side and went out the other, hit about 5 things on the way through. My husband also has bullet holes in his car. I called 911. No help comes for me. No help. We were on our own and we were left to die.
I mean, can you imagine being that woman? That's unreal. But help did come for that resident eventually. It was in the form of a city council member named Danielle Jerensky. She helped her move out of the apartment complex, and Drensky has been sounding the alarm on these gangs, alleged to be migrants from Venezuela. But despite all the video evidence we have seen, Colorado Governor Jared Polis's office says it's a purported invasion that is, quote, largely a feature of Danielle Drensky's imagination. And today he went a step further, telling the Angle, quote, if Danielle Drensky has evidence of illegal activity in Aurora that can assist the investigation, it might even be illegal for her to withhold it from the Aurora Police Department, and she should file a report immediately. Joining me now is Danielle Drensky, Aurora City Council member. Danielle, I just want to put up those statements for our viewers. A governor's office calling you out by name twice, saying that you are imagining this. It seems like Governor Polis is more interested in going after you than the alleged Venezuelan gangs.
That's right. I mean, that's what this has turned into, is complete political football. And now he is so focused on me, even though he heard for himself from Cindy Romero earlier. I know he heard what she had to say. So now Coloradans are speaking out about the terror, the fear that they lived in, their cars filled with bullet holes, and yet the governor is still only talking about me. I haven't heard from him or anybody what the plan is to address this transnational gang. He now is fixated on, I guess, attacking the whistleblower.
Yeah, it seems like it. In fact, I just want to reiterate what he said, that if you have evidence of illegal activity in Aurora that can assist in the investigation, it might be illegal for you to withhold it. I mean, first, that sounds like a threat. And second, are you withholding evidence? I mean, it seems like I'm looking at the evidence, this video.
Yeah, so Kaylee, for a long time, I was the only one in the city of Aurora that was trying to sound the alarm on this publicly, at least. And Aurora police officers were coming to me constantly. And that's why I got so hooked on this and just would not let it go, and hence why we are where we are today. But I am the only one that was talking about this. I have said everything that I know. I have told anybody who will listen. And it's amazing that now the governor has an interest in wanting to hear what I have to say or urging me to file a police report. I have said it all. I have been saying it all. I don't know why it was getting downplayed or denied, but this video couldn't be released until I knew for sure that I had the Romeros moved out of this property safely. I am withholding nothing. I'm the only one who was talking about this.
Yeah. And the governor turned around and said, well, if she had proof of it, then she should have, it's her obligation to come forward. Actually, the poor woman's probably afraid for her life with these jackasses doing what they're doing. Yeah, we'll have to see. The moment that she saw that mustache, she knew she was safe. Here we go.
There is a siren! Get in here! Forget about your packages! Come in! You are the bravest Amazon delivery driver ever! What's your name?
Kayla.
Kayla, high five. I said come in, not bring our packages. There's literally a siren. A siren outside because there's a tornado coming and she brings our package in. Unbelievable.
Hi, I'm Molly.
There is a siren! Get in here! Forget about your packages! Come in!
Yeah. She was weathering the storm and decided to deliver anyways. All right, and Aurora man is putting up signs.
Are y'all putting these signs up? Oh, let me see your sign.
Yeah, so I got this one, but I got some posted all the way around and stuff.
And you're not scared to come put these out here? They could be inside.
Yeah, well, I ain't scared at all, So.
This your old neighborhood?
Yeah, this is both of our old neighborhood.
What's your name? What's your name, man? Joe, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Oh, Bryce.
Is that why you're here? Because you saw my TikTok?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's just like I saw your TikTok about the Venezuelan situation, then I ended up posting up on your comments and stuff like that.
We just saw your signs and I were like, where's the Venezuelans putting up the signs? I didn't see. We just like barely saw it and I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, like, it is crazy out here. Yeah. I'm finding too many stories.
And what's crazy is that APD was just here yesterday and stuff like that, and they were knocking on people's doors, and then people were like, oh, what's going on over here? And then freaking, I guess the police were asking, oh, do you see gang violence around here? And then everybody said, no, they don't.
But somebody around here just said their car got shot up just 2 days ago.
They're all scared. Yeah, but I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to find out.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you, people are feared. You know, they get scared because of the fact that they don't know what the repercussions will be if one of those nut jobs busts through their door or something, you know. But we'll have to wait and see. You know, that's pretty much all we can do is wait and see, and hope that for the betterment of our fellow man, that things are, working out in the best interest of the American people. So this guy,
CEO of a company whose medication could possibly reverse aging has passed away. Now, he was going to hop on an interview to share the story, and before they could even publish it, he was gone.
Sad to report that since this interview was conducted, Dr. Christopher Chapman has recently passed away.
So this is what the interview is basically saying. This woman had a dog named Zeus. He was 12 years old, and he was diagnosed with terminal cancer and was in critical condition. He started taking the medication, and within days, the cancer was gone, and he was up and running again and everything.
Increase telomeres, you can reproduce stem cells and keep repairing things so that you can get literally younger.
He's got some energy. And then, oh, gee, he wants to go out and play. Oh, his appetite is...
CEO of a company whose medication...
Yeah, that could change the lives of so many people. All right, simple question for the Globe believers. Here we go.
Just another crazy flat earther here who has some simple questions for the Globies, because we know you guys believe in this. And to get to that, first you got to prove this. My simple question to all you Globe believers is, when does the water start bending? Let's see if we can find out. Nope, no curve there. That puddle looks flat too. We must have to go bigger. No curve here in the bathtub. None in the kiddie pool. How about the world's largest pool? Nope, still no curve. How about the ocean? Still no curve there. So I know we have to go higher. Okay, let's go higher. Higher, higher, higher. All right, let's go really high. The fact of the matter is you can keep going up and up and up all you want. The horizon is always flat and it always rises to eye level, as you can see yourself. It actually seems the only time that you ever see a curve is when it's NASA. This is all real NASA footage. You have two choices. You can either believe reality or you can believe your government that shows you something you've never been able to see yourself. Have a great day.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking that maybe we shouldn't be believing our government. All right. Fletch says, yep, he said it. Here we go.
He's creating a false symmetry between the democratically elected leaders of Israel and the terrorist chieftains. That's like saying after 9/11, well, I'm issuing arrest warrants for George Bush, but also for bin Laden. Or after in World War II, well, I'm issuing arrest warrants for FDR, but also for Hitler. It's a hit job. It's not serious. He's out to defame Israel, and he's also pouring gasoline on the fires of anti-Semitism that are spreading around the world, because he is attacking the one and only Jewish state and trying to handcuff us, preventing us from exercising responsibly through the laws of war as we obey them and we are subordinate to them. He's saying we're not. He's creating false symmetry, false facts, and he's doing a grave injustice to the international court. He's creating a false symmetry between.
Yeah. Well, you know, it just seems that everybody wants to claim everything's always false. Everything's always false. You know, I think that there's a lot more to it. Here's something really cool I thought you guys would like. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. So it was using fire to visualize sound waves. And I think that was pretty cool. I like how they did that. Yeah. All right. Here's a little bit more on the Venezuelan gang.
Warning. So police nationwide are warning of potential attacks from Venezuelan gangs. Homeland Security has also released a statement saying that police are also in direct danger. Do me a favor and share this video with everyone. Now, if you haven't heard about this, let's talk about it. Well, they have basically taken over Central Park in NYC with robberies and attacks. They've taken control of apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, and multiple robberies in Denver. The Chicago Police Department's warning officers to be on the lookout for members of the Venezuelan gang they say are living among the 40,000 migrants who've come to the city over the last year. El Paso telling citizens to be on high alert as dangerous Venezuelan gang described as MS-13 on steroids surges in the U.S. Now let's see what the former FBI intelligence director had to say about these incidents.
This is hugely concerning when you see that the level of violence and intimidation that's going on. And if law enforcement writ large, which will be required to disrupt this gang, doesn't focus on them, they're going to continue to grow.
So as this group continues to grow and get stronger, how do you foresee events playing out? Let me know what you think in the comments. AP out.
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions going on. Lots and lots of questions. Yep. All right. Here's RFK on Ukraine.
This is a war that should have never happened. It's a war that Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big, big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate, said, don't worry, it's not a gift to Ukraine, it's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? is if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainians, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock. And then in December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
Yep. They create all these situations to keep Americans fighting Americans. You know, and it's nuts. All right. The only U.S. president that targeted U.S. citizens was Obama. Here we go.
The hysteria related to Donald Trump is off the charts, and I think it exposes the raw politics behind it. I have a couple of points I'd like to make. The only president who I am aware of who actually assassinated American citizens was President Obama. So perhaps the ranking member should revisit her history books. I have an article from the ACLU stating the ACLU and CCR have filed a lawsuit challenging the government's targeted killing of 3 U.S. citizens in drone strikes far from any armed conflict zone. In Al-Awlaki versus Panetta, the group charges that the U.S. government's killings of U.S. citizens in Yemen last year violated the Constitution's fundamental guarantee against the deprivation of life without due process of law. The killings under Obama were... The hysteria related to Donald Trump is off the charts.
Yep. Yeah. Crazy. All right. Hey, here's a little lunch break for you. I thought you guys would like this one. My lunch break. Here we go.
There are so many buildings in the USA that look so out of place. Structures that we can all go and see. Structures that we have shown are being burned down and destroyed over and over. These are the structures that we have proven on this channel that hold narratives, stories that are clearly written by either a group of people thinking that we are all too dumb to realize that the stories are made up, or they're written by an AI. When you simply look at one building's narrative, you would never notice anything. But when you put hundreds of them together, like we have done here, we all see the patterns, the repetition, the dates, and the rest, all of it. That's going to take the narrative and expose it to the world, showing that these buildings have a much deeper history, showing that the true narrative is that these buildings have all been here much longer than we've all been told, and built by a much more advanced group of people than the donkey riding cowboys of the 1800s. So let's get started. In Mansfield, Ohio, located on 60 South Mulberry Street, we have the St. Peter's Church, where we are told that the first Catholic Mass was celebrated in Mansfield in 1850. Shortly after, Mansfield's Catholic community purchased its first building, a church that was already there, a former Methodist church. And this is where things get very interesting and give it all away, where the parish built its first church in 1870, where it, of course, burned down just 19 years later. And this is very important for anybody new here. We can see with our eyes which buildings look out of place. Buildings that don't belong in the USA, if you were going off the mainstream narrative, where people, including presidents, were being born in sheds with no bathrooms. Yet, at the same exact time, there are palaces being thrown together right across the street, no problem at all, over and over, by architects that have no previous training. It's never a mistake. And then we see nearly every single time this palace-like structure holds the fire narrative, which is a clear pattern, a nod. And we, of course, don't stop there. This is just the beginning of the investigation, because once we see the fire, then we can go deeper. And we see that they built another building right across the street, supposedly. No details on the construction of that one, of course. And then they outgrow it. And this is when the narrative gets exposed. When they tell us that the current structure, the one that's there today, had its cornerstone laid on May 14th, 1911. And due to the First World War, it had delays. And 113 years ago, it only took them 6 years to build this during a world war, which took place between 1914 and 1918, where 2.8 million men from the USA alone were drafted to go to Europe. And another 2 million men volunteered. With all of this going on, millions of men off fighting in a world war, this structure still gets done in just 6 years. These are the times when the narrative slips these buildings in, when there's a world war going on. And we have shown this, where major financial market crashes and wars are the perfect time to throw brand new narratives into existing buildings. We have shown this in New York City in episode 77 with no internet, and everybody's distracted with the major event going on in the world at that point. Who is running to the library to go check these buildings' narratives? Who's doing that? The answer is nobody. Nobody is going to the library and checking these narratives. This is the perfect time to switch up the story. And now it's time to take this even further. When we see the architect was supposedly William P. Ginther. His architectural career starts off all because he reportedly drew a comic Valentine for a girl, where Frank Weary, then Akron, Ohio's leading architect, just happened to be in the room. And he saw this comic Valentine. So he hires him based on this comic Valentine, if you can believe it. This is the story that we're given. This is the beginning of his story. So we already know this story is ridiculous. Why was this Frank just following him around? Just waiting for the perfect opportunity to see him drawing something and hiring someone based on a comic Valentine and then turning them into a master architect. This is a very standard practice back then. Yes, your Valentine comic is perfect and I just happened to be behind you when you were drawing it. Now come with me. And I always love looking into these characters because they pin them as the guy who created so many other old world palaces all over the place. Just like we see here. 45 churches in Ohio alone, 18 other churches in other states, 10 residences, 28 schools, 8 academies, and even 3 hospitals. And you can see that these were no comic sketches. Take a look at this building, including the Basilica of St. Andrew in Virginia, where it was thrown together in just 24 months, as the legend goes. He's also pinned to this one, the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's see how long this one took to build. If they just would have told us like 8 to 10 years, then fine. I would have a hard time having any argument at all. But the problem is that they tell us the cornerstone was laid in July 1904 and completed in 1905. So the whole thing is just done This is a massive flaw in the narrative. We have proved, in my opinion, of course, in episode 41, that this timeline would have been impossible. Nobody is constructing anything like this in a year from 1904 to 1905, especially when we were told that William P. Ginther, the supposed architect, was off building 109 other structures around the USA. 1 year, 120 years ago. Are you sure? So 1904 and 1905, William P. Ginther should have been overseeing his comic masterpiece, getting the thing done in like a year, perfectly. Well, instead of being in Pittsburgh, he was back in Ohio, building this church the same exact year. Now, I'm not saying that this guy wasn't real. I'm simply suggesting that he was used as a pawn and placed into these narratives, used as the front guy to explain away 109 structures in the USA that did not resemble the construction at the time. You know, the classic wooden shed style. I'm going to take this a step further and try to blow your mind. We were told that Ginther was pinned as the guy that got the St. Columbia Church done, where we were told that it was destroyed by a fire in 1954. So I found it. And just take a look at this place. And it's no wonder it was destroyed. This did not belong in Youngstown, Ohio. It did not fit into the narrative at all. And you can see that the skies are all blanked out in these pictures, clearly edited. You can't even see the top of the structure here. And check this one out. Look at the pole. It's so over the top and 100% doesn't fit in with what we are all told about the past. Here's a photo of inside the place. It's just incredible. I know we have located the fire narrative now, and we are all witnessing them happening live today. But I always think, what have we missed over the years? Could you even imagine growing up in 1890? Every single building on the block must have been insane. In my opinion, nobody from our civilization built this. I believe there was a massive civilization here, where we all live today, that were not riding around on donkeys and carriages. I believe they were wiped out by a mass event, and everything was reset back to the horse and wagon era. And this is why all of these buildings are so out of place and need to be demolished, so that the narrative that we're all told makes total sense. And now I'm going to show you the comparison to what was given to us by the comic guy and what we are given today. I think this comparison right here is just shocking. To me, it's undeniable proof that we are not moving forward. We are not advancing. This is clear proof, in my opinion, that there was a group here that fully understood how to construct palaces all over the world. There is something massive missing from our textbooks. What we are told does not make sense at all. It's just incredible. I could look at the comparisons from the old world to our world all day long. It couldn't get any more obvious that the history that we are given is not the truth, at least in my eyes. So let's go even deeper. According to CatholicEcho.org, we are told that nearly 70 years ago, the cathedral was destroyed by fire during a late evening storm, because storms just light any random stone building on fire. No. So we can see when we are all here to document what is going on. This takes 4 years to put a new one together. We have seen so many times that the 1800s would burn a building down and 4 months later, the new one is there. No problem at all. So I'm so glad that they're showing us the truth in this article, that you have to account for the old building's demolition project, the one that was destroyed. It takes time to remove these ones and then put the new one in. On stcolumbacathedral.org, we get a backstory that gives even more away, where they tell us that this church that burned down was not even the original, if you can believe it. Where the first building was erected in 1853, a second church was built in 1868, and then a larger one in 1897. So who constructed these previous churches? How long did they take to build? Where did the materials come from? Which donkey led the way? We will never know, of course. So this one that is here today, we are all told, is the fourth church on this site. Again, another pattern in the narrative. And we're just getting started on William P. Ginther, the comic drawing master architect, when we have found another comparison of what he supposedly drew up and got done and what is there today. Welcome to episode 89 of My Lunch Break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome. And I want to thank all of our sponsors over on
All right, we're gonna
Patreon.
jump
Thank you
through
to
the-
Flat Earth,
We're gonna jump.
Jacob Law, Tap Key, Blake, Apocalypse, Mower, David, Adluab,
Come on.
The Sovereign, Maryland, was found in 80. Darkness. You guys are all awesome and helping this channel out a lot. The Holy Name Cathedral, located in Ohio, was found in 1885. And take a look at this place. We are told that they destroyed it and changed it in 1957. Take a look at this. It looks like a completely different building. What do you think? It looks like they just knocked the old one down and built this one. And it looks terrible now in comparison, if we're just being honest. And I want to show you something pretty interesting. Right here within the database, we see that there are buildings that we will never find a photo of from the past, where this Charadsville Sacred Thirst in Carroll County was supposedly destroyed by a thunderstorm. It was found in 1883 and destroyed in 1899 or 1900. One of the two, but they can't seem to remember, of course. And then rebuilt in a year and renamed. And we've seen this so many times, where they rename it to mix the narrative up so that you'll never find it again. Same thing here, destroyed in 1838 by fire, where they changed the name again to St. Michael, the Archangel. Again, in Athens County, found in 1845, destroyed by fire. Neff's Sacred Heart, found in 1905, destroyed 5 years later by a tornado. So let's get back to William P. Ginther, because there's more. According to the Cleveland Landmarks Commission, I've found his building list, and I've found the dates that they were supposedly constructed. And I have also found that the St. Mary Catholic Church that is pinned to his name, reminder, it's a church. And this is now the second time in our research that we have seen a church located at 666 South Main Street, Akron, Ohio. What an interesting address for a church. In 1888, we are told that he begins knocking out palace-like structures. St. Bernard's School, where we were told it was in 1888, and now the narrative has messed up and exposed itself. 1888 in the government documents, where we have located a postcard stating that construction began in 1902, with the architect being William P. Ginther. And this was his first project, a massive structure in 1888. His first 5 projects are demolished, and he knocked 3 buildings out in his first 2 years, which is ridiculous in itself. And I'm gonna show you these structures that are still standing, that are pinned to this William P. Ginther guy. St. Mary, Mother of the Redeemer Church, located in Norwalk, Ohio. And here's its cornerstone. Do you think they've already opened that thing up? I bet that isn't the original cornerstone, if I had to take a guess, based on things that we've seen in recent episodes. Here's the inside at night, and here it is on the outside. Take a look at that cornerstone. We can see that it's a completely different color from the rest of the building. I'm gonna take a guess. They definitely opened that thing up. And then threw that 1889 date right on the side. It's unbelievable. It's incredible when you know what to look for. We can all spot it right away now. And it looks like they've been busy knocking things down at this site as well in 2008. So we all know how important it is to go and see these sites. as they are just destroying them over and over. And that's why this research is so important. Making sure that everybody is aware of these buildings, going and seeing them for yourself, and understanding that they all hold a much different past than what we are told. And these structures completely expose the mainstream history. And they know this. We need everybody to understand this so that all the fire and the demolition projects stop. So now we have confirmation that he was busy constructing 10 different palace-like structures in the year of 1905 alone. Can you believe this? Let's check these things out. St. Bernard Church. This is insane. Take a look at the inside of this one. William P. Ginther. What a guy. And what have we found here? A massive moment for this research. Another confirmation that this cornerstone was opened, blessed, and rededicated by Bishop Anthony Pilla in June of 2002. Can you believe this? It's obvious that the cornerstone, the first stone placed in construction, is not the stone that is pictured here. And this is just telling us that they located the actual stone and removed what was inside of it. Can you believe that they actually made a plaque to tell all of us that they did this in 2002? This is incredible. If anybody has any valuable information on the cornerstones and what is inside of them, please let me know. What are they removing from inside of these cornerstones over and over? So the same year, 1905, we have the St. Bernard's Rectory. Looks like these two are attached to each other. Another incredible structure where this thing definitely goes underground level. It looks like a castle. Same year, 1905, we have the St. Michael's Church. Can you believe that we're told that this is all in the same year, 1905? Palace after palace. St. Joseph's Church, another castle church with a perfect side-by-side comparison with our perfect upgraded plastic siding versus the old world. And then he had to hop on his Model T and construct the St. Mary Catholic Church in Pennsylvania. Take a look at our ramp, how it goes up sometimes and stays flat other times with those wooden support beams. And then there's a massive palace church that looks like it's straight out of Walt Disney's dreams. Next, we have the Immaculate Heart of Mary, where we can see how nice our civilization treats their things. Located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm gonna drop the guy down here and show you this place. Remember, all in 1905. And I'm gonna go around the corner here so you can see what this Ginther guy is pinned to. And here it is, the Immaculate Heart of Mary Church. The place that we began this episode off with is unbelievable. And at the same time, he was off being distracted by the St. Anne Catholic Church in Erie, Pennsylvania. And this thing is straight out of Tartaria.com. Can you believe that these things were all being thrown together at the same exact time, the same year, by the same guy? Yeah, me either. I'd love to see this one in person. Check this picture out. This building is incredible. And before we go on, let's take a minute and thank all of our badge members, all of our Patreons, and every did in 1905, did in 1905. It's did we spot Instagram, TikTok, and Spotify. Did we just find another narrative slip up? When you lie, it's tough to keep your story straight. When we're told that this church was constructed in 1905, what's going on here? Where the church's website is telling us that it was established in 1894, predating this 1905 date by 9 years. All of this information has been sitting right here for everyone to see. All we had to do was look. And now that we have, we will never be able to unsee these lies, these patterns. There's no going back, especially when we see the next two structures pinned to Ginther were demolished. The St. Anne Roman Catholic Orphanage, because we know they didn't need those anymore. Episode 52. And the St. Vincent de Paul Orphan Asylum. Again, episode 52. Both in Cleveland, Ohio. with the second one demolished in 2007. Now, it's one thing to say that all of these buildings was a career's worth of construction, but to say that these buildings, all of them, were all built in a single summer fling, just throwing palace after palace after palace together in multiple states, 119 years ago, all in the same year. This is not logical, and we all need to realize this now. We are told that between 1902 and 1907, 5 years, that William P. Ginther was busy constructing a total of 50 palace-like structures. And so I'm going to ask you again, do you think that he constructed 50 palaces in just 5 years? Are we sure that what we've all been told in the storybooks isn't just a lie?
Yeah. Oh, my lunch break. He really tosses him out there, doesn't he? Yep. All right. The NSA confirms Q.
Defender.
All right, Rubber Duck. Let's do this.
Rev put this up on, he helped out the Defender on Telegram and put it on her Telegram channel, and he gave it over to us for us to look at. But there's so much in here. We're going to go through it. So it's from the NSA on Twitter, the handle NSA Gov. Okay, and it's talking about this podcast or whatever they got starting on September 5th. So it was a 34-second video. So, 17 times 2 or Q34, whatever, is how long the video is. We're going to play it in a second, but at the 12-second mark, a helicopter is shown. And what's the number on the helicopter? Oh, happens to be 17. And it was posted at 9:26 in the morning. So if you take 9 plus 2 plus 6, that also equals 17. Seems like they wanted us to pick up on this video for some reason. Let's play the video, then we'll get into what the link leads to over here.
Success is the attack that never happened. For decades, the No Such Agency has protected the nation, our armed forces, and built partnerships across the globe. We've served in silence, and now it's time to share that story. This is No Such Podcast.
All right. So here's the video. You saw the helicopter, and you heard them say the phrase "No Such Podcast" and "No Such Agency." Okay. So let's keep moving to the next screen. What else we got? All right. So that's a very familiar phrase. Okay. Q, the real big Q about Q140. We quote it all the time on the show. That's the one where it talks about what if China and Russia and others are coordinating with POTUS. But just past that, highlighted in gold there, Q had said, why is no such agency so vital? Talking about the NSA. So that video used the same terminology that Q used in Q140 while describing the NSA. Q referred to the NSA as no such agency. Q144 comes back to it and not only talks about what is no such agency, and then puts Q group with a question. Always Q's usually answering his own questions a lot of times on these drops. Though Q144 is basically calling the NSA a part of the Q team. All right. And then over on the far right, Q 1002 is talking about the bite that has no cure is the NSA. Okay. So, pretty interesting that if you take a little deeper dive into what Q said about the NSA, about the Q team, the bite that has no cure, we have it all, those types of things. Then you have the NSA themselves dropping this video that has the helicopter in it with number 17 on it. That's linking. We're going to take a little deeper dive into what their show is going to be about, this podcast and the dates and everything. But that they're using the terminology right out of the Q drops. But let's just go on to the next screen, then we can talk about it a little further, Abs.
Desting to that 34-second video. Drop 34 is the Q clearance Patriot drop, one of the more famous drops around. So this video is smacking all over the board right now, friends.
So watch what the freaking podcast is about. It's about 9/11. All right. And they're going to drop the podcast starting on September 5th. All right. That's like their premiere on September 5th. And then watch this. It's going to run weekly for 6 more episodes. And it says it will run weekly through mid-October is all they write in here. But I took a calendar out, September 5th, and then 6 more after that lands on what? October 17. All right. So we got an NSA video with a helicopter, name number 17, 34 seconds, Q clearance, saying no such agency, talking about 9/11 for 6 episodes that lands on the 17th. All right.
Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder. I wonder. Montana's Democrat U.S. Senator John Tester just got busted trying to bribe college athletes with cash.
Offered thousands of dollars to endorse publicly Democrat Senator John Tester on social media. Riley Gaines is with us this morning. Tester's campaign claims they have no knowledge of this whatsoever. But big picture, Riley, what do you think about money for college athletes?
Well, let's first and foremost be clear about what this is from Tester and his campaign. This is Tester attempting to gaslight Montanans and really Americans into believing that he cares about female athletes and women's athletics. He does not. He has made that very clear in his voting record for the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, along with 50 other Democrats. The Senate actually has 2 more weeks to vote on the Title IX CRA that already passed the House that would counter the Biden-Harris administration's harmful rewrite of Title IX. But I imagine they won't vote because Democrats don't want to be on the record saying they oppose biological reality and, frankly, common sense.
Who is offering money to student athletes if they endorse publicly John Tester? Who's offering the money?
Well, Tester said his campaign has no knowledge of this,
Right.
but
So
of
who's
course
offering
they
the money?
don't because they have. Well, I believe it's his campaign, but they've been caught at this point, and so they're saying they have no knowledge of this. I believe his campaign does know about this.
Okay. Your testimony was emotional in front of Georgia state lawmakers.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah. So, Script Keeper says in regards to what this topic all started about, I kept trying to tell you all the videos where you hear people talking, listen to the way they're talking. If you have never been in the streets, then you can't catch it and won't understand. Dapper Detective says intelligence reports suggesting that Hells Angels bikers are seeking to attack Trendy Argua gang members in Aurora, Colorado. If the police department continues to be handcuffed by woke politician, a bloodbath is inevitable. And I don't think that honestly, I don't think that So Mr. Poole put this up. I don't know what this is. It says, alert, the EBS has gone off in the USA. Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Phoenix, New York, Philadelphia, and Seattle. Something big is coming. Let's see. What's it say? Within a 300-mile radius of these areas, everyone should seek out a fallout shelter as soon as possible. Nuclear fallout is a byproduct of nuclear attacks and prolonged exposure. It is almost certainly,
One should seek out a fallout shelter as soon as possible. Nuclear fallout is a byproduct of nuclear attacks. What in the fuck is going on, dog? Will almost certainly kill you.
Look, I did this time. I'm freaking out now because it was. I looked it up on YouTube. I looked this up on YouTube because this girl was fucking playing with her husband, and I didn't do it. Like I looked the video up and everything, and I didn't do it. It's not real.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Wait until the all clear has been given before leaving the fallout shelter.
Is this on YouTube? Dog, I stopped it. I did not do. I started to do it to see because she done it and it didn't pop up.
Yeah. So I guess these kind of things are popping up all over the place. All these different people are posting it. The fact that Mr. Poole is throwing into this, I'm not so sure there, you know, because I haven't seen anything come across the screen. You know, I know my I'm running internet based TV, but still, something should have come up and said something to me. You know, you know. So I used to Benny Johnson. I'm not gonna get into his personal stuff. Let's see what this is. KMC Patriot says, "I hope the rumors are true and the Hell's Angels are headed to Aurora." So there's a lot of people banking on this happening. But all right. All right. Let's end this with a good one. Let's end this with a funny. Here we go.
You're being very rude, very rude. Excuse me. Listen, I've been alone with you inside my mind, right inside there in a very pleasant way. Within my dreams, I've kissed your lips, probably more than 1,000 times, Lucy. Sometimes you pass outside my door, just walking right by. Hello. Let's get real. It's definitely me you're looking for. Why else would you be here? Because I've seen it in your eyes. I also see it in your smile, right from cheek to cheek. You're all I ever wanted, nothing more. And my arms are open so wide, the widest. Hello.
All right, guys, there's your midnight snack. I hope you're happy. But I'll keep I'll keep an eye out in regards to more stuff in regards to this situation in Aurora. And what's this? This was put up 8 hours ago.
The seal is broken. In addition to closing the border and removing all of the criminal elements that have illegally invaded our country, that's right, it's been an invasion, making America energy independent and even energy dominant again, and immediately ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. We'll do all of that. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the United States of America, Joe Biden, the entire Biden crime family, and all others involved with the destruction of our elections, borders, and our country itself. These are corrupt people. These people are destroying America, and they're going to pay a price for it. Thank you.
Yeah. They have done everything that they can to attempt to destroy. And, you know, yeah. What can I say? All right. Yep. That was your midnight snack. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Please have a good, get some sleep. Remember, God loves you. Christ loves you. I love you. Peace.